how much of the game were you able to get in before the phone died?
I mean, I got all the updates pretty much afterwards. I saw pretty much most of the first half, and second half I would just get the highlights and the updates.
And now that you had a chance to look at it, how do you think the team did?
Well, the thing is, it's never as good as you think it is when you win. It's never as bad as you think it is when you lose. Obviously, there were some individual mistakes. I think Brad's got big enough shoulders; he'll accept that, and he understands that. I think those were very helpful to their goals. But there was also some team mistakes, as well. On the first goal, I thought the whole team stopped. Everybody thought the ball was going to go out of bounds and assumed that Wynn wasn't going to catch it. And Wynn caught it and crossed it. And we always talk about marking players in the box, not marking space. And we were marking space, so we had two players marking space, Brad and Tyrone. And he's in the space in between. Second one's just a complete error on Brad's part. Bad decision, bad play. Has nothing to do with the position. It's just a bad position, bad play. And then the third goal, as the first, running with people off 1-2s. Didn't run with the player off a 1-2. Stepped up when we shouldn't have stepped up, when we should have given cover. The end of the play is the easy part. But, I'm sure everybody looks, we've scored 5 goals this year, and I'm sure all 5 goals in the other coaches' eyes, there were mistakes along the way as well. So.
What's been the message to the team since, I'm assuming, watching film and kind of reevaluating what happened?
We just want to have a good week of training. We know we gotta move the ball a little quicker. I thought the ball moved too slow in the back, so we got to move the ball quicker in the back. We got to do a better job of defending well, but defending just isn't the back four. It's everybody being involved, and just make sure that our work rate always matches the work rate of the opponent.
Does Brad's performance change? I know you mentioned a timetable of 6 or 7 games to kind of give.
No, it doesn't change anything. From that standpoint, if you look back at last year, I think we were pretty consistent with how we approached Stefan Fry. And there were some goals that were allowed there that a lot of people would have said, oof, maybe you need to change. We didn't, and it worked out well for us at the end of the day. So, I think he had a bad game, and I think he's the first one to admit that. Unfortunately, he's not here today.
What are some of the options?
He's not here today because his grandmother passed away actually before the game. Everybody's situation, grandparents are a different thing. But when you live a lot with your grandparents, when you're growing up, I did that. I lived from the age of 3 to 12 with my grandparents. It affects you a little bit more maybe. But so he's back. They had a memorial dinner last night for the whole family. So he asked if he could miss practice today and come in for practice tomorrow. So he'll be here tomorrow. So it's excused. And has nothing to do with the game.
What are some right back options if y'all have to go without Tyrone for a while?
We have options there. Obviously Brad can always slide back out to right back. We've got O'Neill Fisher, who we've got on board now, and he's an option for us at right back. Jimmy Ockford played some right back for us in preseason. Zach Scott can always play there in a pinch as well.
Would the Evans thing be counterproductive to what he's trying to learn at center back?
We have to do what's the best lineup for the game at that point. So it's always a matter of making decisions that are best for the team. So it's not a situation of making a decision what's the best decision for Brad going into the Dallas game. It's what's the best decision for our team going into the Dallas game. So if that means moving Brad outside and bringing Zach inside, then we'll do that. If it means keeping Brad inside and playing somebody else outside, we'll do that.
Any health update on Mears?
He's got a slight tear in there. That's what the MRI showed, but it's not nearly as severe as we thought it might be. So there's a chance he could be back for the Dallas game for sure. So we'll see. So he's already got full range of motion in it, and there's just a little point tenderness of soreness, but a lot of times they do these things called PRP injections if they think it's a longer thing and they didn't even feel they needed to do that.
What are your thoughts on the stadium extension to stay at CenturyLink through 2020?
As long as you get a new turf every so often, I'm okay with it. So this will be the last year of the turf, that's there now, so we'll get a new turf next year. As long as they keep looking at options as to maybe can we put grass on that thing one day, that would be great. I think the atmosphere is fantastic, the location's great. It gives a lot of options for growth to the club. I'm glad the organization, felt good enough about the extension to come to an agreement.
Do you think there'll be an added benefit in the time that you have between the last Saturday before your next MLS game in Dallas for these guys to kind of think it over, or is it be better if you guys should just focus on Tijuana now? Or
As a player, when you have a game like that and you lose and you're disappointed, you want to get right back out there and play another game. You probably rue the fact that it's 2 weeks between MLS games. It's like, oh man, we got to deal and we got to talk, and you guys are going to ask me about this next Wednesday, a week from Wednesday, as to what this is. And it's like, let's just leave it behind. Let's move on to the next phase. So our whole thing is to have a good week of training, get ready for Tijuana. Give a good look to some players in that game, that maybe haven't had a look in a while, and then get ready for Dallas in Dallas.
Didn't look like Kenny Cooper was out there today. Any update on where he's been?
Yeah, same. I think Garth talked to you guys about that. So it's still something. It's excused, and it's something that they're trying to work through.
how do you think of Michael Azira's play the last couple of weeks?
It's been okay. I still think, it's not just Michael. I think our movement of the ball's got to be quicker from the back to the front still. Not necessarily where it's got to go direct. That's not what I'm talking about, but I just think sometimes you can play two-touch and it's 1001, 1002, and you can play two-touch where it's bang, 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 and we got to get more into that bang, 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 bang. And so our midfielders, today we worked a little bit on, when you have some space, you got to turn, you got to look forward, can you connect that next pass forward, and that was the whole emphasis of the training today, and I thought it was okay.
What have you seen from him since he came into the club last year, that kind of how he's evolved, that kind of maybe got him to the point to start the last 2 weeks?
Well, Michael's he's a steady player, and he's well liked in the locker room, and he's a steady player, but he is also the guy who's probably most comfortable sitting in the hole, sitting deeper. Roldan would have to learn how to do that because that's never really where he's played. For Andy Rose, it's been a while since he's played there. So Michael's the one who's most takes to that role of sitting there, and and he's got some good defensive qualities, and he's got good quickness. As with anything, he's still a young player in regards to our league, and just that consistency is important.
When Alonso finally comes back, will he still kind of be in the runnings for fighting for a starting position, or will he move back more into an off-the-bench position, or is it too early to say?
It's too early to say. With Ozzie's a starter for this team, and generally guys don't lose their position, through injury. So, that's always been my philosophy as a coach. Now, if somebody's out for 4 or 5 months, misses 4 or 5 months, and it's a different story. Maybe somebody else has won your spot. But I think, with Ozzie, it's just a matter when he's ready. We're going to try and get him some minutes.
And is Dallas a possibility, do you think?
It's a possibility. He did more today in training, and we'll see how it goes from there.